In case of the internal structure of a leaf, we see that A, C, and B, three structures you can see. This C structure is the structure which we can form when we are trying to make a vertical section, or when we are trying to prepare a thin section of any leaf. Now, this leaf is we are going to just see in an enlarged form in the B diagram. It is an electron microscope diagram and very enlarged. You can see the presence of glandular hair at the uppermost side. This glandular hair has presence of gland underneath it, so there will be release of some amount of substances in form of resins or any sticky secretion from the glandular hair portion. The non-glandular hairs are also there, so from there will be no secretion of any substances from the leaf. Inside is the presence of cuticle. Inside to it is presence of cuticle. You can also find cuticle and at the lowermost end, so both the sides there will be presence of cuticle. Cuticle is made up of waxy layer of cells, and these cells are helpful in protecting the uppermost layer of the leaf. Epidermis and lower epidermis is also protective in nature. Inside is presence of collenchyma cells in both the sides, and parenchyma cells. These are made up of living cells, and inside to it pericyclic layer fibers or pericyclic fibers. Upper side has presence of pericyclic fibers, whereas the lower side has presence of these calcium oxalate ions. These calcium oxalate rich cells can be seen in case of nerium leaf or any kind of xerophytic leaf. When we see a section of a xerophytic leaf, we see the presence of these substances, and these substances help in avoiding excessive absorption of sunlight, and because of sunlight the loss of water is also regulated because of presence of this calcium oxalate clusters. So that's why this pericyclic layer becomes differentiated at the lower epidermis side, because you are aware that from the lower epidermis large number of stomata are present, and from the lower epidermis area only there is a chance of loss of water at a much higher degree. Now, inside is presence of medullary rays, cambium and phloem. Upper to it is xylem vessels. Now, you should understand that cambium is the area which will give phloem and xylem both. In between the xylem and phloem, or the layers of xylem and phloem, the vascular bundles, we see the presence of medullary rays which have presence of high amount of food and water supplements within it for the growth of the leaf, or for just the normal functioning of the leaf. Cambium is a tissue which gives rise, which has a presence of meristematic cells within it, and that's why it gives rise to the xylem as well as phloem. This is how the arrangement of leaf is there, and we will be studying in details about monocotyledonous. So this is a vertical section of a monocotyledonous leaf, and the outermost layer is the cuticle. In the lower side also you will see the presence of cuticle layer, but the layer towards the uppermost side is thicker as compared to the lower layer. Inside it is the presence of epidermis. In case of monocotyledonous leaf, one thing is very important, that these leaves are isobilateral. Now, why the leaves are isobilateral, that is also very important. The reason for that is both the sides have equal number of stomata, and because of presence of equal number of stomata they are arranged at 90 degree. If you see a grass, the leaf is 90 degree towards the sunlight, and both the sides of the leaf has presence of equal stomata, so equal amount of photosynthesis will be occurring from the both the ends. Even you will see the presence of parallel venation in these leaves. What is the meaning of parallel venation? If this is a leaf, you will see these kind of straight, you know, lines of veins present in these leaves, whereas in case of mango leaf you will see the venation is reticulate. So that is the difference in monocot as well as dicot leaf. Just by looking at the leaf you can well differentiate that the plant or the leaf is either monocotyledonous or dicotyledonous. What is the function of epidermal layer? The upper and the lower epidermis, it consists of compactly arranged parenchymatous cells, and these parenchymatous cells have at times presence of silica, or yes, they have impregnated silica deposition within the epidermal cells, and the reason for that is to allow or to avoid excessive loss of water or excessive you will see that the wilting in grasses and all, they take place, it takes place very slowly. The reason for that is this silica deposition at the layers, at both the epidermal layers. In case of stomata, or some of the bigger cells, in case of upper, and we will be able to find some of the cells which are quite larger in case of upper epidermis. These few cells, these cells are known as motor cells or bulbiform cells. These cells are irregularly placed in the entire structure, and the function of these cells is to regulate the osmotic changes. So at times, if there is rolling of the leaf, or excessive loss of water, we see that the leaves, they droop down. That rolling of the leaf or drooping of the leaves is regulated by these larger cells. They are known as motor cells or bulliform cells. Next to it is presence of substomatal chamber. This is the area from where the loss of water actually occurs. When a drop of water has come out, that drop of water is evenly distributed, and due to excessive heat, that turns from water to water vapor. So this transformation occurs during in the substomatal space. Next is the mesophyll cells. The mesophyll cells are, they are bulk of cells which are present in the central part, and these cells are not well differentiated, so they are just made up of spongy parenchyma cells, and they perform photosynthesis. They also create substomatals, and because of these all specializations, these mesophyll cells are the only cells which are present between the layers of upper epidermis and lower epidermis. In the mesophyll cells, we see the arrangement of vascular bundles within it. The vascular bundles have a specialized name that is known as bundle sheath. Now, bundle sheath is a kind of globular structure, and this globular structure has presence of outer layer which is bundle sheath. Inside is presence of the xylem and phloem. The function of xylem is to take out water or bring water from the roots to the leaves, and the xylem, as soon as the water droplet is removed from here, the water droplet will be sent to the substomatal space through the intracellular spaces. And when the food is formed by these all green cells, the food is sent to the phloem. Phloem will transport the food to the different plant structures or different structures in the plant, and xylem will transport water to these substomatal spaces, so that diffusion occurs. Of that diffusion results in turning the water into water vapor, and loss of water takes place to the stomatal space. One stomata is known as stoma, whereas group of stoma are known as stomata. So they are, how are stomata formed? They are formed because of guard cells. So two guard cells, two kidney shaped guard cells are generally present in case of any leaf, dicot leaf. But here this is not a dicot leaf, it is a monocot leaf. So in case of monocot leaf, we see the presence of dumbbell shaped, please remember this, dumbbell shaped stomata is present in case of dicot, sorry, in case of monocot leaf. This is something which is very, very important. Next is about the vertical section of a dicot leaf. In case of a dicot leaf, we see that the outermost layer is known as the epidermis. Over the epidermis is known as, there is another layer which is known as cuticle, which is present. Cuticle is thick, has presence of no stomatal space within it, and upper epidermis is a layer of parenchymatous cells. These parenchymatous cells have no as such role, other than the fact that in case of some of the hydrophytes, they have presence of high amount of stomata, or in case of some of the xerophytes, it has high amount of deposition of pits or silica granules. So that even sometimes there can be presence of glandular and non-glandular hairs in case of dicot leaves. So in this way, the specialization of epidermis is there in case of dicot leaf. What about the next layer? That next layer is the palisade layer. The entire mesophyll is differentiated into palisade parenchyma, spongy parenchyma, and inner to it is, there is, yes, palisade layer is the one which has presence of large um, living cells. These cells are have high intracellular spaces and have large number of chloroplast cells, so a lot of photosynthesis occurs in these cells. They are compactly arranged, and they are placed in such a way that they are right angles towards the sunlight, so that high amount of sunlight can be trapped for photosynthesis. Even there is presence of intracellular spaces in case of palisade layer. These intercellular spaces serve as substomatal space for diffusion of water molecules and movement of uh, yes for diffusion of water molecules. So through the substomatal space, the transformation of water molecule to gaseous water vapor takes place, and then the exchange of water can occur through these pores. So in this way, it is quite important. Next is presence of this bundle sheath. It is outermost layer which is made of sclerenchymatous chimatous tissue, and inside is presence of blue colored phloem and red color xylem. The metaxylem is towards the inside, whereas protoxylem is towards the outside, and we can see the blue colored layer of phloem cells. So again, the function remains the same for xylem and phloem. And here, in case of vascular bundles, we see that the midrib is the area which has presence of conjoined collateral type of phloem and xylem. So phloem is towards the lower side, you can see lower side of the midrib, whereas upper side to the midrib is presence of xylem vessels. So if we can take a section from this area, we will be able to find the entire this kind of structure. So this is about the vascular or sorry, this is about the vascular bundles which are present in dicot leaf. So how are they different from monocot? You can very well differentiate. And now um, the high amount of stomata, they are present in case of dicot leaves towards the lower epidermal area. That's why the lower epidermis, whenever we are trying to make a section, we always take the lower epidermis in order to see the stomata. And one more thing is important in case of stomata for dicot leaf, that is the shape of stomata is kidney shaped. What was the shape of stomata in or what was the shape of guard cells, I should rather say? These all are the, here it was dumbbell shaped in case of monocot leaf, here it is kidney shaped in case of dicot leaf. So please remember these all few specifications, and I think it is well understood now. Now, what is the meaning of spongy parenchyma? Those substomatal spaces which were present in the palisade layer, those are not sufficient for the mesophyll cells, or those are not sufficient for the turning or for the conversion of water molecule into water vapor. So that transformation takes place in these spaces which are created by the spongy parenchyma, and as soon as the transformation takes place, the exchange occurs to the stomatal pore. So in this way, the entire structure of dicot leaf is now completed.